I'm here today to talk about our relationship with China.
If you have opened your phone at any point in the last 6 months, you have been sold a terrifying story. You've been told that Saudi Arabia is officially walking away from the US dollar. You've been told that the BRICS nations are building a new financial world order. And you have been promised repeatedly that the collapse of the petrodollar is going to destroy the American economy overnight. We are seeing thousands of videos claiming the U.S. empire is crumbling because a 50-year-old oil agreement is coming to an end. It makes you want to empty your bank account, buy a bunker, and hoard physical gold. It is a fantastic story. It generates millions of clicks, it feeds the algorithm, and it sells a lot of gold to panicked retail investors. But there is just one massive problem with the petrodollar panic. It's completely fake. It is an economic illusion. Today, we are going to look at the actual macroeconomic math and show you the real reason why America controls the world's money. And spoiler alert, it has absolutely nothing to do with crude oil. To understand the myth, you have to understand the history. In 1974, the United States made a quiet, strategic agreement with Saudi Arabia. The deal was simple: price your oil exclusively in US dollars, and we will sell you advanced military weapons and guarantee the protection of your oil fields. This created the legend of the petrodollar. The doomsday theory goes that because every country on Earth needs oil to survive, every country is forced to hold billions of US dollars just to buy it. This supposedly gives America an unbreakable monopoly on global finance, trapping the world in a dollar-denominated prison. But here is what the panic peddlers simply won't tell you. Oil is actually a tiny fraction of the modern global economy. Global gross domestic product is roughly $100 trillion. The entire global oil market, it's barely $3 trillion. The idea that a 3% sliver of the global economy is the only structural pillar holding up the entire United States financial empire is mathematically absurd. If Saudi Arabia woke up tomorrow and decided to price their oil in Japanese yen, Chinese yuan, or even pure gold, it wouldn't cause the dollar to collapse. The global economy is built on high-speed technology, complex manufacturing, and digital services, not just barrels of crude oil. But if the petrodollar isn't holding the American empire together, what is? Before we answer that, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, BRICS. The internet is absolutely convinced that this alliance of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa is about to release a unified currency that will wipe out the dollar in a matter of months. But when you look past the political photo ops and the dramatic handshakes, the reality of a unified BRICS currency is a geopolitical joke. For a BRICS currency to actually function on a global scale, it would likely have to be backed by the Chinese yuan, as they are the dominant economic powerhouse in the group, but there is a fatal flaw. The Chinese Communist Party enforces strict capital controls. That means the government legally restricts large amounts of money from leaving the country. Even Chinese billionaires struggle to get their wealth out of China. Why on earth would the rest of the world peg their entire national wealth to a banking system they aren't legally allowed to freely withdraw their own money from? And then there's India. India and China are the two biggest players in BRICS, and they literally have active, physical border skirmishes in the Himalayas. They are bitter geopolitical rivals. India has explicitly stated they have no interest in building their economic future on the back of the Chinese yuan. If the two most powerful countries in the alliance don't even trust each other, they are not going to overthrow the US dollar. But wait, what about gold? If they can't agree on a fiat currency, won't BRICS just back their new money with physical gold? It is true that central banks in China and Russia have been hoarding gold at record rates. But this is where the internet fundamentally misunderstands modern finance. We don't live in the 1800s anymore. You cannot run a high-frequency, globalized economy on heavy, physical metal. Every single day, trillions of dollars flow across the global banking system in milliseconds. Multinational corporations use complex derivatives, overnight lending markets, and digital ledgers to finance massive supply chains. If a Brazilian company wants to buy airplane parts from a Russian supplier, they can't wait weeks for a ship to physically transport gold bars across the ocean to settle the trade. And if they try to digitize the gold, they run into the exact same problem of trust: who holds the physical gold, and what happens if that country refuses to hand it over. Gold is a great store of value for a doomsday prepper, but it is a logistical nightmare for a high-speed, modern global economy. The real reason the US dollar rules the world isn't oil, and it isn't gold. It's liquidity. It's the rule of law, and it's something called the eurodollar market. The truth is, most of the US dollars in the world aren't even inside the United States. They are offshore, moving between foreign banks who choose to use the dollar simply because it is the most efficient, frictionless tool ever created for human trade. If you are a multi-billion-dollar corporation in Europe, or a central bank in South America, you need a highly secure place to park your billions where you know you can get it back instantly, no matter what happens in the world. You don't trust the Russian banking system. You don't trust the Chinese legal system because the state can seize your assets overnight with no due process. You trust the deep, highly regulated, aggressively defended financial markets of the United States. It is the United States Treasury market. The dollar isn't backed by a barrel of oil in the desert. It is backed by the largest, most technologically advanced military on Earth, the deepest bond market in human history, and a foundational institutional trust that simply cannot be replicated by a fragile alliance of rival nations. Will the US dollar's dominance last forever? Absolutely not. History shows us that all empires eventually shift, and no currency reigns supreme until the end of time. But that macroeconomic shift will happen slowly, over decades, through gradual economic diversification, not an overnight doomsday collapse because of a Saudi oil contract. The petrodollar is a geopolitical myth used to farm your panic. In the global economy, panic is sold to the masses, but the truth is always in the math. If you want to stop falling for financial myths and understand how the money really moves, hit subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.